Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Usable Marketing Podcast. And yesterday I was telling you my story and about how I had been riding high when I worked at NBC. I had gone to a leadership management program in Crotonville, part of GE. I had dinner with the chairman a couple of times. I had with two chairmen one time each, I should say. Things were really good. I even collected, let me see if I can do this, a couple of these. Those are 3 Emmy Awards, and these are Muse Awards. I actually got 10 of those, but only 2 are up there, and a Gracie Award. But so you can actually see how having all of these kind of like outward manifestations really got me to the point where I thought I was sort of at the top. Like I have the life. I used to say, I'm living the dream. By the way, I still say that, but the dream is different today. But the thing is that when I got laid off from NBC in 2009 and went to having no job and not clear what my next move was, it was a very scary time. That's when I first started doing consulting and sticking my shingle out. And I remember I told you about when I stuck my shingle out to do consulting, that was when a lot of other people were also newly unemployed, right? Lots of people, very highly qualified, very highly educated, like myself, but we were all out there trying to kind of like get some of the scraps that were available in consulting. And so what I wanted to talk about today is, as part of my journey and as a part of everybody's journey, you go through trials, right? You go through times when you are not sure you're going to make it. You're afraid, you're uncertain, you feel small. And what you need in those times is you need somebody that's going to get you through. I was really lucky at the time that I was in the middle of my MBA program. I was kind of entering my second year. And because of that, I had a lot of folks. I had a new peer group, thank God, that wasn't exclusively my work peer group. It had been that my whole world was NBC before, and something happened. I had been kind of thinking like, what's going to be next for me, that I went and pursued my executive MBA at USC. And so thank God I had like this whole new set of people to support me. And by the way, several people through that program lost their jobs. Some people even dropped out because their employers had been fully funding their MBA. I was lucky. While NBC, and I have a lot of gratitude for this. Today's Thankful Thursday, so that's kind of what I'm talking about. NBC, paid a chunk of my program. They didn't pay for all of it, but I was able to stay in the program, so I had this peer group. But what I particularly want to do today is I'm going to thank a lot of people over the time of this podcast. But the person I want to thank today is Stacie, right? Stacie at the time was my then friend. She's now my life partner. I love her. She's amazing. One of the smartest women I know. Have just a ton of respect for her. But basically what she told me at that time was, when I stuck my shingle out, she said, I've known people that have done this before, and if you can make it through sort of the 2-year trough of despair, you'll make it, right? What happens with most folks is something happens, they lose their job, they have a life change, they try something, but they don't stick with it, right? And so what happens is they never actually get off the ground. There's this other metaphor. I was talking to another friend of mine lately, Jimmy Wang. Hey, I'm talking to you. But another mentor of ours, Keith Cunningham, said, the problem with getting things going is it's kind of like being in the lunch line, right? You get in line and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna get that because it's Taco Tuesday or whatever. But then you see something in the other line, you're like, ooh, I'm gonna run over there. I decided I want a burger, and you get in the line and you see something else and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go get whatever the next thing is. And then you really decide, no, I actually wanted Taco Tuesday. But every single time you go to the end of the line, you never actually make any progress. And so when Stacie told me, you know, if you can make it 2 years, you'll make it. At the time, I wasn't sure. But it turned out to be true. Part of it is like having belief in something that's out there in the future without knowing for certain that you're going to get there. But here's the thing, right? If you stay at something, if it remains your focus, then very often you will actually get to the finish line. It's when you quit on your dreams or you quit on your initiatives or the outcomes that you're trying to produce. Guess what? You don't get them when you quit. So today, what I particularly wanted to do, and I don't know if this is right, so hopefully you can read this the right way, but I wanted to thank Stacie, because what's super important for all of us is when you are trying to achieve a goal, trials will get in the way. Problems will present themselves. I talked about the story yesterday and how you need mentors or gurus or guides to get you kind of through your trough of despair. Right? And I had a lot of them. But what's so important is that you recognize that that's part of the process, right? You have to recognize, who are these people that are going to help me get through? If you isolate yourself, you're just never going to get there, right? So today is Thankful Thursday. Thank you, Stacie, for just being my safety net, giving me the hope that if I stuck with it for a few years, I'd actually make it through. I have to tell you, you know, it's funny. While that was difficult, I'm at a time in my life where, like, things will never be the same, right? Those were great times, but I would never go back and say, no, I just want my big job at NBC back. Like, this is the life, right? What I've been able to do since then because of that, but what I've been able to do since then is so much more exciting than what I was doing then. It was great for then, but now it's something that I would never go back, and even going through all of those trials, like, zero regrets. It was amazing. So that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, what I'm going to be talking about is frameworks. It's going to be Framework Friday. Frameworks are the key to getting big, complex work done in a shorter amount of time with more certainty that you're actually going to cover all of the steps and not screw anything up. So that's going to be tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow.